The short film I chose to watch and analyse is called Thrush. It's around 5 minutes and tells the story of the birth and death of a relationship. It's told entirely through pictures and uses a male voiceover to tell the story. I'm now going to show you half of Thrush.
A blip, a second, half a second. That's how much a photo used to catch. A tiny blip. There used to be stilted set-up scenes where everyone may as well have been statues or fake bullet points of holidays, birthdays, Christmases, achievements. You had your roll of film and you hoped for the best. But now, with the birth of the internet and digital cameras, they capture, well, everything. You take 100 and delete the ones you don't want. The unflattering ones, the embarrassing ones, the useless ones, and the ones that tell the truth. So all you're left with is the perfect picture. And this is me and Ruby. This is the last picture we ever took together. Look at it. You never know. And this is the first, Donnie's house party. And that's Donnie there in the middle, grinning away like the retard he is. And she was being chatted up by this Mexican dick. As soon as I arrived, I couldn't take my eyes off her, but I couldn't get close to her as my ex-girlfriend was there. Samantha, bitch. But the night continued, drinks were drunk, and we finally got talking. She was a model. We talked about our childhoods, where we studied, our dreams, everything. We clicked. This was it. The first 6 months, it was perfection. But as our love grew, so did our insecurity. I was jealous of all her exes. She didn't like how close I was with Michelle from work. We started arguing over little things at first, but then they became more personal, more vicious. On the day this photo was taken, we broke up. I'm not sure who suggested it, but we both wanted it. Freedom. I want to get into...
The mise-en-scene is different in every photograph, as every photo is showing a different emotion and occasion. This is significant in the relationship. Black and white photos are used to show the ones in which the male is following the female. It gives the video a cold feel compared to the previous warm, happy relationship. Camera angles. Close, intimate pictures are used to bond with the characters and develop them. Most of them are close-up facial expressions and photographs from other points of view. Although close-ups make up the majority, all camera angles are used. Sound. The film uses only non-diegetic sound. Chilled music doesn't take attention away from the piece, however, keeps the tone relaxed. The male narrating uses voice to show emotion at different times and uses the speed of his voice as a form of venting out frustration. Editing. Photographs are used and shown at different paces to mirror the time in which they were taken. Also to mirror how slow it takes for the relationship to grow and build, and then how fast the relationship deteriorates. It gives the photographs a better sense of realism and as if it is happening in the present. Representation. The story has two main characters, a female model and a male the same age. They are represented as two typical young adults who enjoy going out and socialising. This is shown as in the first place they meet is at a party. We see their relationship develop as we see them attending social events together and as they grow from friends to lovers. The female is represented as a typical girly girl. Pictures show her applying makeup, taking a shower and having fun with female friends. However, we also see an intelligent side to this, and this is shown through the use of pictures showing her reading books and visiting bookstores. The male is represented as a typical male who enjoys socialising with male friends. He enjoys drinking and is shown as confident around his friends. This is represented through the fact he stands out in the pictures. Also, many photos show him taking the picture and show he appears to be comfortable in front of the camera. Narrative. The story does go full circle with the birth and death of a relationship. We are introduced to the characters in the same picture, which tells a clear story of the two characters' current relationship status, single. The next shows how the characters get closer and closer at a party. and then how their relationship develops into eventually nothing. The narrative is clear throughout the story, and we see how the girl falls for another man, until eventually getting over the girl, and therefore the narrative going full circle. Genre. Although this film is listed in comedy in the BBC website, it would probably be seen more as a romance, as we do see the birth and death of a relationship. Audience expectations. With every story, the audience has expectations based on the scenarios that happen. The short film went against audience expectations and the couple broke up. How Thrush is similar to our film. The whole way through, Thrush, the audience has an expectation that the couple are going to develop and grow stronger. This expectation is not met as the couple break up and she finds someone else. This is very much like our film, where the girl disappears at the end, not meeting the expectations. This is a huge part of the film, as the audience is interested in what happens after the story as well as throughout the story. One main character. The main character, George, tells a story. He voices over the story, which enables us to recognise him as the main character.
Get Off My Land is about a young couple who are walking along the countryside. They bump into a man who owns the land they are walking across. The farmer tells the couple to get off his land, however they believe that they are walking through a public footpath. Both men have a heated discussion and agree to fight. The farmer walks back to his car, leaving the young couple to think that they have priority, until the farmer returns with a gun and murders the couple. The farmer turns back to his car and remembers that the land was actually a public footpath. Mise en scene. The film is set in the countryside, which is surrounded by trees and greenery. The scene is very spacious, however the ground is muddy and filled with puddles, and the sky is cloudy, suggesting that the film is going to be dull. The couple are then introduced. The female is wearing a lilac rainproof coat with boots and grey trousers, which suggests she is of working class status. The colours also set the mood, which is also dull and boring. The male is wearing a thin black jacket with jeans and white plimsolls which are covered in mud. This also suggests that he is of working class status. He is wearing inappropriate clothing for taking a walk in the countryside, as his shoes are not suitable for the environment he is in, and he is always walking behind the woman and is finding it hard to keep up. At the beginning of the film, he is also wiping off dirt off of his jeans, which suggests that he is bored and cares about his clothes more than taking the walk. Female's facial expressions show that she is annoyed with her partner and is trying to ignore him by keeping her distance. When the male takes his time to cross over the gate, the camera shows a close-up of the woman's face to show her stress and anger. The farmer appears from a dark green bulky car, which suggests he is a farmer. He is wearing a tartan cap with an army green jumper and raincoat with beige trousers and green Wellington boots. His clothes are stereotypical farmer clothes, so the audience can easily identify his character. The farmer also has a gun to suggest that he shoots animals as a hobby. Camera angles. There are a lot of close-ups of feet at the beginning of the film to show that they are walking through a dull, wet and damp countryside. This is a good way to set the scene. There is also a long shot at the beginning of the film to show the couple and to introduce us to them. Throughout the film, there are a lot of close-ups and mid-shots to show their facial expressions and so that the audience know who the main characters are. There are also a few two-shots to show that the male and female are a couple and that they are walking along the countryside together rather than two separate people. When the farmer is introduced, the camera continues to go back and forth between the couple and the farmer to show conflict between all three characters. Because of this, the film suggests that all the characters in the film are main characters. As the discussion gets more heated, the camera is positioned more closely to the men's faces to show that the tension and that something may happen. The camera widens and shows the whole of the scene as the two men begin to fight, but then returns to close-ups to show their facial expressions and tension. When the farmer brings out the gun, the camera widens out to show their whole bodies and to show what is about to happen. The film then ends with close-ups, mid-shots and long shots to disturb the audience as a tragic event has just taken place. Sound. There is no non-diegetic sound in the short film. This is to show the dullness of the countryside and to show that the couple both are annoyed and stressed. The sound at the beginning of the film is birds and the wind, which is quiet to set the scene, and the mood, which is dull and tense. There is a lot of dialogue in the film from all three characters so that the audience can easily follow what is happening. When the farmer's car pulls up, the sound of the engine is particularly loud to show that the farmer is about to interrupt the couple. During the farmer and the couple's discussion, there is a lot of sighing and noises to show the stress. Both of the men's discussion is in a sarcastic tone to show the tension between both characters. This suggests that something may happen later on in the film. When the man unzips his jacket, the noise is particularly loud to suggest that both men are going to fight for the land. However, the farmer walks away. When the farmer returns with the gun shot is extremely loud and sudden to create a shock and to make the audience jump. This is very effective as the tension has been building up to that moment. The film ends with no background noise to contain the feeling of shock towards the audience. Editing. The editing is slow-paced at the beginning of the film to set the scene and to introduce the characters to the audience. This is done very well as the audience can easily identify with the setting and the characters. When the farmer arrives, the pace speeds up to show tension between the three characters. This is also done effectively as the fast pace allows the audience to feel the tension and feel the adrenaline when the farmer murders the couple. The film ends with a slow pace, just like the beginning, to keep a lasting effect from the tragic event. Representation. All of the characters are represented in different ways. The woman is represented as an average working class woman who is in a relationship but is stressed and angry at a partner as he is dressed inappropriately and cares more about his clothes than the walk. This is shown through her facial expressions and the distance she keeps between her partner. The male is represented also as an average working class man, however the audience can tell that he is not a fan of the countryside as he is wearing inappropriate clothing, walking particularly slow and wiping off the dirt from his clothes. He is stressed and fed up. We can also tell this from his facial expressions. The farmer is presented as a stereotypical farmer in which the audience can identify with. He is serious and protective of his land, which the audience can tell through his strong posture and facial expressions. He also has a car to show that he is of a higher status. Genre. The genre of the film is a comedy and a drama. The drama is shown through the tension between the two male characters and camera use. The comedy of the film is at the very end of the film when the farmer says, "I actually think this is a public footpath." This creates dark humour as he has just killed a couple for walking on his land when in fact it wasn't his land. The line also creates humour because the farmer breaks the fourth wall between the set and the audience as he is talking to the camera, which is not realistic. Audience. The target audience would be mainly males aged 16 to 35, mainly because men like violence and dark humour. 2 out of the 3 characters are male and the most dominant roles, therefore males would be more likely to relate to this type of film rather than females. Narrative. The film has a circular narrative but is slightly different to Toddler's narrative theory, mainly of equilibrium, mainly because the movie begins with a disequilibrium. The film begins with the couple walking through the countryside. The film also suggests that the couple walk through the countryside quite often. However, when they decide to take a different route, which is when they jump over the gate, the equilibrium is when the couple jump over the gate for a shortcut, and the new disequilibrium is when the farmer claims that the land is his and shoots the couple. We have taken a few ideas from Get Off My Land to use in our short film. Our group did like the use of camera angles and sound to bring the element of tension into the film and to show the characters' facial expressions, reactions and emotions so that the audience can identify with the main characters. However, we will only use one main character in our film and base the film around her everyday life. The lighting in Get Off My Land is also dull to set the scene of the film. We also like this idea as we would like our main character to be portrayed as an office worker with a dull, boring life. Therefore, we think that the lighting would be effective in portraying this. The biggest difference that our film has compared with to this film is that there is no dialogue in the film whatsoever, whereas in Get Off My Land there is an excessive amount of dialogue so that the audience can fully understand exactly what's going on. We have decided to have no dialogue in our film to show that our main character has no social life so that the audience can connect with her stress and feel sympathy for her.